It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News Podcast. On this, the 20th day of February 2024, coming to you from Bedford County, Virginia. Very seasonal kind of weather here. You know, it was in the 20s last night, going up to, 50-ish today. Pretty seasonal. All right, we do have a few stories this morning, not a whole lot, again. The lead story this morning is Be Aware, Chair Hogs. Extensive modernization to 3 Carnival ships. A new river ship for Saga. And if you ever wanted to sail on Cunard, that and lots more here at 11 o'clock on the Travel and Cruise Industry News Podcast. Today, folks, is Love Your Pet Day. Now, that's not hard for most of this audience, but do something special for the pets today. A little treat, or as some of you that overtreat your animals to start with, maybe just a little something healthy for them. But or a little hug and a squeeze, that'd be fine too. All right, let them give you an extra lick on your nose, whatever. It's National Love Your Pet Day, and we all are, love our pets dearly. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. You can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. All the big hitters: TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, any of them. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. If you're listening via the podcast and ever want to jump over to the video feed, you can always go to a link in the description of the podcast to do just that. And you can check out any pictures or clips or interviews on that day's show. All right, so we've been talking quite a bit recently about our Alaska cruise coming up in August on the Grand Princess. So, why is this not giving me what I want it to give me? Yeah. Oh, I see why. All right, so we've talked about some problems that Skagway is having. They had a dock damage last year. Actually, the last 2 years. And they ordered a new floating dock to come in to repair what you're seeing in this picture. Here's another look at it. All right, so they had a floating dock coming in that is coming in 3 sections. It somehow was damaged in Ketchikan. They're still not entirely sure how much damage or how much it's going to change things, but it's looking like the Skagway is going to be in business very early on in the season. So that's a good thing. The cruise itself, of course, sails August the 14th on the Grand Princess from Vancouver to Whittier or Anchorage. Then you can tie on to all sorts of neat things at the end of it. You can take a land package up to Denali. You can take a trip on another cruise, like maybe go down to Anchorage and spend a couple days in Anchorage like I did last year, and then take another cruise back to Vancouver. Could easily be worked out. Or, of course, you can just fly home from Anchorage. So it's a good deal on the cruises. It's a good deal for insides and ocean views. The deal for balconies suck. And deals for balcony suck everywhere in Alaska this year. They're just awful. But anyway, so it's a good deal. Also, there's actually a couple dates on Norwegian Jewel that have inside cabins for, what was it? It was $199 or something like that. Just absolutely ridiculous on what was available. But it's only for 2 days out of, a bazillion. So, but it's very cheap. So if you should be interested in that, let me know. I'll be happy to look it up for you and see if we can get things done. All right. So getting on with the news portion of today's show. Top story actually comes out of Carnival. And this is kind of a mixture this morning, folks, on news and a little bit of help from our friend John Heald as well. One of the biggest problems that leads to guest complaints on cruise ship are chair hogs. When inconsiderate guests attempt to claim prime poolside lounge chairs for hours without actually using them. Carnival Cruise Line has renewed its efforts to crack down on this problem and encourage chairing is caring. I don't know if I like that name, but they're encouraging chairing is caring to chair hogs, with strict enforcement of its no saving chairs policy through stricter notification and time limits. Carnival Cruise Line brand ambassador John Heald, who is currently on board Carnival Horizon, addressed the problem in one of his morning walkies, he calls them, where he videos and walks around the ship, noting that the cruise line is doing its best to regulate the problem. Crew members monitoring the pool deck, which are now referred to as the chair share team, are placing stickers on empty chairs that have towels clipped to them or are otherwise supposedly saved with a book, some flip-flops, or a t-shirt, or a beach bag, anything that makes it look like it's in use. The stickers that crew members put on the so-called reserved chairs say that they note the time that the sticker was placed and when personal items will be removed. The stickers read, "We stopped by at," and they put the time, "and found this chair empty. Hope you're having a great time, but for the benefit of all, we limit how long chairs can be left unattended at such and such o'clock. We'll move your stuff to the towel hut for safekeeping." Boy, I bet that's going to raise a stink. Crew members fill in the blanks with the appropriate times. The first blank is when the sticker was placed on an empty reserved chair. The second blank when the items will be removed 40 minutes later. If they are not back at that time, we will remove the items. It's the only way we can make it fair. Now, of course, there is flexibility. It's perfectly understandable that guests find a chair, can put their items on it, leave briefly to go grab breakfast or a little bite of lunch, and bring it back to the chair. A restroom break. You don't want people to go peeing in the pool, or even a quick dip. If you're laying out there in the sun, you might want to get in the pool. So, but those are generally not over 40 minutes. Problem arises when the chairs remain empty for hours, and this, clearly has caused problems everywhere. Putting the time stickers on the chair away Carnival is attempting to mitigate the problem. Now, folks, it's hard for me. I've listened to the complaints about chair hogs forever. And back in the day, it bothered me more than it does now, because now I've got my own chair. I travel with my chair. So I don't need one of their lounge chairs. I've got my own. I suppose if I wanted to transfer out to a lounge chair, but I'm just not comfortable on lounge chairs. That's number one. So if I want to get in some sun, I have no problem at all with just peeling my shirt off and positioning the chair so I've got some sun on the appropriate parts of my whale-like body. But I understand the problem, folks, and it's been a problem on cruise ships since I started cruising in the 70s. Especially, back in those days, there wasn't so much to do on the ships. You had a day at sea, you were at the pool because there wasn't all these other things going on. But anyway, I understand it's a problem, and I understand people get upset about it. And I think Carnival stealing the stuff off the chair and sticking them in the towel thing is going to cause a war on some of the ships. But we'll see. Again, I don't blame Carnival for doing this. I'm not fussing at Carnival. I actually think, it's a pretty unique fix to the problem, at least to try it, so people understand that they're not just making rules, that there are actual reasons for the rules. All right, so I'll be back with a couple more stories. Again, not a whole lot of news today, but a couple more stories after a quick break from one of the network sponsors. The second story today is also from Carnival Corporation. AIDA Cruises has announced their largest modernization in their history. The first phase of the program will see 3 Sphinx-class ships, the AIDA Diva, AIDA Bella, and AIDA Luna, completely overhauled in 2025 and 2026. AIDA Diva will be modernized first during a 6-week dry dock in the spring of 2025. Not only will the cruise ship receive a new interior design, but the technical equipment and systems on the vessel will be updated. There'll be an increase in the number of suites on each ship, and every stateroom will be completely redecorated. Suite guests will have a greater number of restaurants to choose from, and new services for passengers staying in the suites will be created. For families cruising with small children, new activity areas will be added to the ships. The theatrium, the heart of the ships, will be enhanced with new seating and a harmonious color concept. The modernization with new technologies will reduce fuel consumption, increase energy efficiency, and conserve resources. AIDA Sphinx-class ships first debuted in 2007. Now, I find this particularly encouraging. These are, getting around to the older ships, the ships that we would lose, that still have a lot of life in them. I fussed all along about us losing the ships in this age and a little older when we lost the Cuba cruises, because they ended up scrapping ships that with a little, a can of paint and a little fix up could have been good for years. So, I find it good that they are modernizing some of the older ships. Now, I've never sailed on Aida, so I'm not that familiar with the line, but I would definitely, it would be a challenge to me to sail on Aida ships, especially after the refurbishment is done and the modernization is completed. I'd like to report on that. So we'll have to see. All right. A British cruise line that specializes in voyages for those 50 years and older, yeah, that's me, has announced it's adding a new vessel to its fleet of river ships. Spirit of the Moselle will be added to Saga Cruises' fleet of the European river ships when completed in 2025. Construction of Spirit of Moselle began in January at Wahahi shipyards in Vasavica, Serbia. Wahahi shipyards in Vasavica, Serbia. Spirit of Moselle will be similar to its two sister ships, the Spirit of the Rhine, which lost in 2021, and Spirit of the Danube, which began voyages in 2022. When completed, the ship will accommodate up to 182 guests in 95 cabins. Other features include a lounge area and bar with floor-to-ceiling windows, a restaurant that will serve buffet breakfast and waiter-served lunches and dinners. Free shore excursions are available at select ports, and Wi-Fi is complimentary for all guests. And the last story today, folks, have you ever wanted to sail on Cunard? I've never had the chance to. Well, Queen Elizabeth will sail out of Miami starting next year. Cunard revealing new voyages across its fleet spanning September of 2025 to January of 2027. The Queens will make a total of 300 sailings and call hang on. I lost the story there. The Queens will make a total of 300 sailings, call at 184 destinations, including 70 countries, 108 UNESCO World Heritage listed sites, 37 overnight port calls, 66 late evening departures. The president of Cunard said that we are incredibly excited to have both Queen Anne and Queen Mary II offer full world voyages in 2026. We are so thrilled that our guests will, for the first time, have the opportunity to transit the Panama Canal on Queen Mary II. Queen Elizabeth will also take in a new program to the Caribbean, sailing round trip from Miami, giving guests expanded opportunities to delve into the tropical region. There'll be 5 maiden calls for the fleet: Kona, Hawaii; Rotan, Honduras; Dakar in Senegal; Miami and Molde in Norway. Queen Anne's newest ship, Cunard's newest ship, Queen Anne, will visit 102 ports, 23 maiden calls. Queen Elizabeth will operate a brand new Caribbean program from September of 25 to April of 26, ranging from 9 to 21 nights. Queen Mary II will operate a full world voyage as well as its signature transatlantic crossings. And finally, Queen Anne, Cunard's newest ship, will visit 102 ports with 23 maiden calls, including Phuket in Thailand, Cape Town in South Africa, and Marseille in France. So Cunard is expanding into the world that we are more familiar with. And it might give, Cunard's a quality cruise line. So it might give some people an opportunity that they normally wouldn't have. So might want to look into that, folks. Sail on one of the queens. All right, let's see who's with us this morning. Emily Sear says she knows all about chair hogs. Hot Air says may play hide and seek or maybe scavenger hunt with the contents of the empty chairs. Yeah, I know that one's going to lead to some problems. Hot Air, I believe. Anyway, Hot Air says people are so rude. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Hot Air Tom. Chillie does a chair hog. As if Chillie does a chair hog, I might have to lock him out of the cabin. No, Chillie's not going to do a chair hog. I can promise you on that. I got my own chair, Tom. Even in the cabin, I got my own chair. It stays attached to my butt. I mean, yes, I get out of the chair to get on the bed and in the bathroom. The rest of the time I'm in the chair, so you don't have to worry too much about me hogging anything that you would be sitting on. Steve's with us. Hey, Steve, out in Kentucky. Steve had a nice birthday celebration last night. Not for Steve, for one of the kids. Mike's with us from the other side of the pond. Hello, Mike. Gretchen's here out in Ohio. We saw people put their towel clips on at dawn and show up for lunch. Yeah, well, that's clearly, that's what they're trying to avoid happening. And I'm an early riser, and I go out early a lot, and you see, literally, 100 chairs already clipped and marked. And it'd be one thing if 5 minutes later somebody's sitting in it, but it doesn't happen that way. Emily says, I gave Fiona some real chicken from Costco. Fiona kisses all the time. Yeah, I could see that. I'm glad she got a nice little treat, a little chicken treat. That's good, Em. Took clips is way too much. Took clips is way too much in the MDR. Yeah. Also saw people stealing tables, and one man, about 75, picked up a bamboo and granite table to move it. He dropped the granite, which shattered all over the retreat area. Wow. Some people they just don't get me started, Gretchen. People like that just drive me bonkers. Towel clips in their towels at lunch. Too much. Kenneth's with us up in Pennsylvania. Hey, Kenneth. Did the guy have to pay for the granite? Probably not. He probably left and they don't know who did it. Big signs warning their stuff would be taken were all ignored. Not surprised on that. The only way to do it is to start taking the stuff. Instead of just putting the signs up, actually do it. And maybe that will, in fact, start getting through to some of these people. If their stuff ends up missing and they've got to go try to find it and raise hell about it, maybe it'll get through their fat brains. The guy bitched at the pool attendant. He said Princess was lucky the shards didn't hurt his wife. He never even asked anybody to help him. I have to admit, because of where we had something at the condo in Freeport, we were able to hog any of the chairs under the wooden cabanas. Gretchen says this was about a 2 square foot of granite. It was way too foolish to attempt it. Yeah. Maybe too many cocktails. Oh, you can almost rest assured that happened. There's Amy. Hi, Amy. Good to see you this morning, Amy. Jim says that's a lot of granite. Yeah, it is. They should have made him pay for it. I tell him, I mean, I would have no problem with making somebody picks up a granite table and breaks it. I'd send them a bill. Love the sticker idea. We noticed our chairs were always taken in about 2 minutes. We never left our stuff there. Well, I mean, normal people, Gretchen, use the chairs, and when they're done, they take their stuff and they get up and give them to other people. Hot Air says, I say they should post a sign. If you see an open chair, sit in it. No reserving seats allowed. Put towels and items underneath. There's Christine. Hi, Christine. Hate the chair hogs. Yeah, we all do. Christine's one of my cruising buddies. Put a sign's a good idea too. I like what they're doing. I hope it works. I hope the people get just totally pissed about it. We'll serve them right. Lucky in Freeport, we never had any hogging issues because the condo was never full. Well, that's nice. Too many families staying at the condo whenever we were there. Amy says they're going to have to redo older ships. They're the only ones who can fit into ports like Tampa, or else they're going to have to start building smaller ships or give up the secondary ports. Yeah, I agree totally on that, Amy. And that whole class of ship, we lost so many of them during the pandemic. So I really like what they're doing. I like that they're giving us some of these ships that can be used in ports that are not necessarily made for the big behemoth ships. I like the smaller ships. I like the intimacy of those as opposed to, sailing with 5,000 or 6,000 of your closest friends. So, Christine says, when I was in Europe in December, they were tagging chairs. I had an issue with another cruise. I wasn't moving. Okay. How was your issue resolved, Christine? They were holding a whole row of chairs by standing next to them. No towels. I put my stuff down and proceeded to sit there. I was verbally abused and told karma would get me. Oh, man. Cruise ship karma. I bet I'm sure if I do some research, there'll be some cruise ship facts over cruise ship karma that I could use. Let's see. Oh, Steve said it was his wife's birthday. Yeah, that's right. It was his wife. Had a great time. Yeah, I saw that, Steve. Happy birthday to her. Charge all the hogs for the pool towels they now have lost. Oh, yeah, that would be cool too. Still cold here in New Rochelle, but it's supposed to be up in the 50s. Nice by the weekend. Well, you can have a nice weekend out of it. I'm just glad that we haven't gotten any snow. It was been some up in the mountains, but we haven't. We had one day with just a little bit in the mornings. Doesn't bother me. 80 days till our first cruise. So looking forward to Alaska. Good, Steve. Oh, Emily says supposed to say this weekend. Yeah, I got that. Christine says hello. Amy will be going on the Margaritaville at Sea Islander from Tampa. Sweet. I haven't seen anything more on that. I'm looking at a little short cruise out of Jacksonville, and maybe jump down to try the Islander. I mean, I love Margaritaville at Sea Express, except it was terrible for accessibility. And I'm not sure my current chair would even fit on that. So that's one thing I would have to look at. Olivia Smith says hello. 80 days. Emily says that's sweet. Message me on Google Chat. Yeah, no, thank you. Katie's with us. Hello, Katie. Diane Ogelman says hello. Steve says Holland America, Koningsdam. Koningsdam's one of my favorite ships. I like Koningsdam a lot. I like a lot of the things that they're doing on that ship for accessibility too. I booked the Tampa Aquarium for Cindy and I this Saturday. I'm doing a dolphin watch cruise from the aquarium. Oh, that's cool. Can't wait to see our room, 22nd floor of the Marriott Water Street with a corner room. Should have a nice view of the balcony. Very nice, Hot Air Tom. Of course, you always do it right in the hotels. We board the Jade on Sunday. There's Gary Older than Dirt. Hey, Gary. I sure enjoyed sailing with Gary. Gary became really just a perfect cruise pal for me. You know, we were able to run around and do some things and still go our separate ways. And it was just very comfortable sailing with Gary. I thoroughly enjoyed doing 2 cruises with him. Hot Air sounds like a lot of fun. Emily says, I agree. Gary Older than Dirt. Hello. Emily says, Gary. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Again, I will be back here same time, same place tomorrow. Some of you may have noticed, I think my audio was good today, but my video was not as good as yesterday, as for some reason, I couldn't get my phone camera to connect, and I'm not sure why. So I used a secondary camera, but at least I had the audio track right. So I think we've got the audio problems worked out finally. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. I'll be back here same time, same channel tomorrow. Don't forget, hit that thumbs up button. And please take this as my invitation to subscribe to this channel. We've hit a little lull on new subscriptions. We're hanging right in there at 3370-ish, give or take. Has some fluctuations up and down. But anyway, please take this as my invitation to join us regularly. It doesn't cost a thing. Helps the channel out tremendously. And I'll be back here same time tomorrow. Again, we'll have the same schedule on Thursday and Friday. We are going to have a special guest. On which day is the special guest? Okay, let's see if I can tell that while I'm here. Calendar. Yes, there's calendar. And the 23rd is pulmonary. Yeah, that's Friday afternoon. I go to pulmonary. Okay, so Thursday is our Galapagos interviews. I need to get on that today. They haven't sent me any pictures or anything. Got to make sure we're still on for that. So I'm hoping that on Thursday will be our Galapagos interview that's been set up for some time. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising. Hopefully, one day soon, we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a fabulous day, everybody. See you tomorrow.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, chilly chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.